So let's take a look at presenting price and payment. So as we go back and consider where we've been, you get a phone call from somebody that has come through the call center, or maybe you met somebody at a home show and set up the customer and set up the appointment. Do a setup call with the customer, make your way to the home. There is some great opportunity for a warm up before moving into step two, where we're going to inspect the space with one another. So now you've walked around the house with the customer and figured out exactly what it is that they're looking for. Step three, you've measured the house, you've put together some options. Step four, you come back into the home with sample boards, do the company story, the installation video. Step six, we presented the product. Eventually, we'll learn how to do the pre-close. All right, so for now, we're going to sort of skip that moment. And then we get into step 8, the close. So this is where we are right now. We're in the close. So what does it mean to try to close the sale? Well, the first thing we have to do is we have to be able to present price and payment. So this is what a typical price and payment sheet looks like in the tablet. And we're simply going to review the price with the customer. So you can show them, hey, the total retail price for your project is $12,487. You were able to get in touch with 3 of the people on my reference list, so that takes $150 off, and that brings your total down to just $12,337. I never know how people might want to invest in their home, so I took the liberty of putting together some payment options. 24 months would be $586 a month. 36 months is just $415, and 48 months is $330 a month. And once your job is complete and you're 100% satisfied, would you be in a position to pay with a personal check or take advantage of one of the payment options? Okay, so let's review what I just did. On the one hand, I went through the price option with the customer. On the other hand, I showed the customer what their payment options could be. Now, don't get too worked up over, is the customer really going to take 36 months or 48 months? What is the interest rate? Yes, there's a lot of variables that are involved in that. This is a starting point for the customer, okay? You can manage the interest rate, you can manage the down payment, you can manage the number of months that it is. This is just a starting point, okay? So don't get too excited about what the actual interest rate is and whatever else at this point. What's important about presenting price and payment options is to let the customer know that they have an option of paying, just outright paying for it, or taking a payment option. So let's dissect the closing question a little bit closer. The closing question: once your job is complete and you are satisfied with the work, would you be in a position to pay with a personal check or take advantage of one of the payment options? Now, this is not a word-for-word question, okay? But I do want to show you some key things about it. You'll notice that this only gives the customer 2 possibilities to pay, right? This is what's called an A-B question. So I'm giving the customer an option. Do you want to pay with a check or do you want to pay with payment options? I'm not saying, do you want to do it or not, right? This isn't a yes or no question. This assumes the sale. And I purposely am only asking for checks or payments. So let's think about, by contrast, another way to ask this. Once your job is complete and you're satisfied with the work, how would you like to pay for this? And see, that just feels a little forward, doesn't it? I mean, this is an assumptive closing question, but yeah, that one feels a little bit forward. Now that you've seen the price and the payments, should we get your job on the schedule? And to see, that's a yes or no question, right? And I'm not really looking for a yes or no. I really want to focus in on the payments. So this closing question, while it's not word for word, this closing question is one that it's very well worded. Once your job is complete and you're satisfied with the work, would you be in a position to pay with a personal check or take advantage of one of the payment options? You're literally giving the customer one of 2 ways to pay, right? You've got 2 options to pay. So what happens when the customer comes back and says, well, can you take a credit card? How are you going to answer that question? Because to be frank with you, part of the reason why we ask the closing question with an A or a B, checks or payment options, I mean, let's face it, how many people still write checks? It's getting fewer and fewer. All right, I like that, because I'm expecting a customer to ask me this question, can you take a credit card? I'm expecting the question to come up. And so by leaving the credit card out of the closing question, it begs for the customer to ask this question. So how are you going to answer this question? Can you take a credit card? Well, you could say, well, sure, we can do that. But then this becomes, now it's just an academic question. It's like, can you take a credit card? Yes, we can. Now what? So what I would much rather do is I would much rather ask the A-B question. You want to pay with a check or pay with financing, pay with a payment option, and let the customer ask me, can you take a credit card? Because now I can ask them in return, if I could do that for you, could we get your job started? Notice that I'm not going to give away the information. If the customer wants information from me, I want to get some information from them. So I'm not pressuring them to sign the paperwork. I'm not pressuring them for the close, but I am purposely looking for information. So if the customer says, can you take a credit card? If I could do that for you, could we get your job started? You know what? You're going to find in today's world, it's not going to be just credit cards. Can you take Venmo? Can you take Cash App? Would you take Bitcoin? Now, I'm not going to tell you to take Bitcoin. I'm not telling you that that should be something that you can offer. I am suggesting that you answer the question the same way. If I could do that for you, could we get your job started? For all I know, you might have a farmer in a rural area. You know, instead of saying, could you take a credit card? Hey, could we barter? I've got 3 goats and a cow. Okay, I'm still going to answer it the same way. And it doesn't mean I'm going to take 3 goats and a cow, but if I could do that for you, could we get your job started? See, what this question does is it flushes out what is the real issue. Is the real issue how they want to pay for it, or is the issue are they ready to do it? This is a question that helps me understand if versus how. They may come back and say, well, I'm not so sure, the price is too high, or I'm not so sure, you know, I may still want to get another estimate. I'm not so sure. Okay, see, if they were sure that they were ready to do it and they said, can you take a credit card? If I could do that for you, could we get your job started? Should reveal, yes, let's just swipe the card. Do you take Venmo? If I could do that for you, could we get your job started? And they say, well, yeah, if you take Venmo, I can do it. All right, now what happens? You have a sale if you can figure out how to do it. Now, you may decide it's not worth it to set up a Venmo account. It's not worth it to set up a Cash App account. I have no idea what I'm going to do with 3 goats and a cow. It's up to you. But what this question allows you to do is it allows you to get the information from the customer about what is the core issue. Is the issue really how they want to pay for it, or is there something else? But what if you ask the closing question? Once your job is complete and you're satisfied with the work, would you be in a position to pay with a personal check or take advantage of one of the payment options? If you hear anything that sounds like a yes, then stop selling. So let's play it out. Once your job's complete and you're satisfied with the work, would you be in a position to pay with a personal check, or would you want to take advantage of one of the payment options? Oh, I'd probably just write you a check. Well, welcome to the Floor Coverings International family. Now, you still may get, oh, time out. I thought that was a hypothetical question. Would you pay with a check? I'm not ready to actually do anything yet. Oh, really? What makes you say that? And now I can get more information about what the objection is. I'm not scared of the objection. We're going to be able to handle the objection. There's no problem with that. It's just I need to know if there's really an objection or if this is purely a question of how somebody wants to pay for it. So if somebody says, well, I would just write you a check. Great. Welcome to the Floor Coverings International family. Oh, I don't know that I can afford the $400 a month. Okay, you know what? We've got options, and now you can work through payment options with them. Okay. If you get an objection, get more information. Is it the price? Is it the payment? What is the problem? What is it that the customer is reacting to? Show more options. You put together 3 options, right? You put together option 1, which was up here maybe, option 2, option 3. Okay, hey, if $12,000 is too much, let's take a look at another option, which is still going to get you a great looking floor. It may not have all the features, but let's take a look at what we can do and get you within the budget you want to be. Perfect. Stay at the table until you have given every possibility. And by every possibility, that might mean, okay, I can shave some money off if you move your own furniture. I can shave some money off if you remove the carpet yourself. I can shave some money off if you do the trim work. Keep whittling it down until you absolutely can't do anything for them. You should not leave the table unless you have already presented the absolute least expensive way for you to do the job. Now, we will handle objections in another module. This module, I specifically wanted to spend some time around just ask for the sale. Because one thing I know for certain, you're going to land 0% of the jobs if you don't ask for the sale. So get out there, ask for the sale, and good luck selling.